Okay, well, the warm-up's obviously very important, Venus. So why don't you talk us through how you would start out on any sort of given morning if you were coming out to play tennis? How would you warm up?
Well, first I would warm my body up. So what I would do is kind of take some laps around the court, a little jogging, a little, a side shuffle like this, maybe a little crossover step, maybe some high knees, and then maybe kind of stretching your knee and holding it, and just different stretches so that way you're kind of sweating before you even hit the ball. So that way you're nice and loose and you don't get injured. And from there, I start out in the inside game.
Okay, so we've got David here, who's your hitting partner, isn't he?
Yes,
Yep.
Dave. Played pro tennis back in the day.
Okay. And you would always start in the half mid-court area here?
Yeah, kind of start in that mid-court area. And the purpose of this is to really kind of start out in the right direction, because when you start out closer, you have to hit up. So kind of working on getting that spin right off the bat, especially for someone like me. I'm a flat hitter, and my first go-to shot is to hit flat and hard. So this encourages me to do the right thing to get that spin.
Yeah, so this is getting you to roll the wrists a little bit.
And we kind of take a step back, and you can also kind of do a cross court. Sometimes we'll start out cross court too and just do all four sides. So we'll go cross court. And a fun thing is to kind of change mid-air and go down the line. So then we'll do all four sides and just kind of keep backing up. And I usually start out with a lot of spin, kind of really raising that ball until you feel like your stroke is warmed up and you feel like you have a good rhythm. And from there, that's where I start my first drills, whatever that may be that day.
Okay, and just to explain to everybody, so would this be the sort of warm-up that you might even do for, say, an event like the US Open next week, or would your warm-up be very different from a normal training session as opposed to playing in a tournament?
Well, I warm up like this every time. Kind of get into habits that you feel comfortable with. Sometimes I'll do a quicker warm-up where, like, Dave will be at the net, and I work on my hands. And that kind of makes me get the racket through quicker. So it kind of encourages the racket speed, and it gets my feet going.
Okay, that's the first ball you've missed.
That was his fault.
You haven't missed, that was it, first one.
So this is kind of, more fast-paced, and you can see I have to get my racket through quicker.
Okay.
So this gets me in a good rhythm.
Well, let's give you a little bit of a breather, because I tell you, you're breathing a lot less than Boris Becker was, I can tell you. Okay, we've got a question here from Kanya in India who says, "Hi Venus, I'd like to know your training routine, which specific muscles you train, what cardio you do, and what sort of stretching and warm-up routine you do," which I guess you've covered a little bit of that, but
yes.
Try and answer that one.
So the warm-up before I play is probably about 10 minutes. Then afterwards, I do maybe 5 minutes of stretching, and kind of spend half the time on the court and half the time in the gym.
Really? So before a match, you would only spend 10 minutes on the court?
Oh, are you talking about a full warm-up before a match?
Yes. Well, actually, let me just think.
Okay.
No, your training routine. Yeah, that was the question.
Training before a match, I stay on the court less than half an hour. I like to get on and off the court, and I like to think by that time, if I'm not ready by then, I'm not going to be. So kind of just go through the motions of hitting everything, play out a few points, serves, returns, volleys, overheads, a few approach shots, get off the court and get ready to play. And
if you had something tactically that you specifically wanted to bring into a match, would you do a little bit of that perhaps in the warm-up on the morning?
Yeah, absolutely. If there's some players that they play differently and I want to attack one area, or if I'd like to do a certain strategy, then I'll definitely play that or practice that in the days leading up to.
Okay, right. Question number 2. This comes from Nancy in Albuquerque, and she says, "What type of drills do you do on a typical day as part of your regimen?"
Gosh, what don't I do?
So many.
We could spend 2 hours talking about this. I start off usually me in the center of the court, and then Dave will be either on the deuce court or the ad court, and then I'll go to that corner, and we'll work on that. Then I'll probably start doing some side-to-side drills, work on my movement. My least favorite thing is to practice volleys and returns.
Okay.
So I'll try to get those in most days.